NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. All right, let's go. Let's dive right in. This episode originally was going to be, about who should stay and who should go regarding to the roster of the Brooklyn Nets. And that was my plan all along. But as we all know, there's something a little bit more important we need to discuss and talk about. And so we're going to talk about that instead. And that is the hiring of Steve Nash as the Nets' new head coach. So let's go. Let's look at this. Look, I'm as shocked as all of you are. I mean, this came completely out of left field. People didn't even know that Steve Nash was even interviewing. Everyone thought it was going to be either Jock Vaughn, Ty Lue, possibly Mark Jackson. Those were the names that were constantly going out there saying, Popovich. Everyone's like, hey, that's what they're going to want, coaches with a good resume and all this stuff. And out of nowhere, I woke up, I looked at my phone, Steve Nash, and I'm saying to myself, Steve Nash? Like, look, I love Steve Nash. I think he was a great, actually, I know he was a great NBA point guard, a Hall of Fame point guard, one of the best we've ever seen. Great guy. But I'm just shocked. I really am. But then you start hearing the rationale behind it. And you start hearing the reasons why the Sean Marks and the Nets went with Steve Nash. Look, I'm going to be blatantly honest, which you all probably already know this. Sean Marks did not hire Steve Nash. Okay? He did not hire Steve Nash. Kevin Durant hired Steve Nash. Duh. As simple as that. If Kevin Durant and Steve Nash did not have the relationship that they had back when they were in Golden State, which is very close. Steve Nash was an advisor, player development advisor to the Warriors, worked with Kevin Durant. They had a really good relationship. If that didn't happen, Steve Nash would not be the head coach of the Nets. It probably would be Ty Lue or Mark Jackson or hopefully Popovich or even Jock Vaughn, who the Nets said did a really good in his interview, and a lot of the team, if not most of the players on the team, very much so respect and liked. So when the caption says Brooklyn Nets hire Steve Nash as the new head coach, it really should say Kevin Durant hires Steve Nash. Because like I said, that's what this is. And look, that's fine. Okay? And I think Steve Nash is going to be a good head coach. I really do. He's got a great basketball IQ. He's a player's coach. He obviously has good relationships with, which Sean Mark said. That's what they were looking for. Guys with great relationships that are going to demand respect of everyone in the locker room and be able to build on the culture that they have to go from respectability to greatness. Like, that's what they want, and they want Steve Nash to be that guy. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But look, here's where I have a problem. And what I'm about to say, once again, is everybody already knows about, and everyone, realizes this. And it's just the reality of it. I really personally hate the player power that the NBA has, the player empowerment. The fact that the NBA player, this NBA superstar, has so much power, more than any other sport, like I was going to say there is. Like, the only thing you could argue is maybe a star quarterback has enough power to get, has the same amount of power. But a star in the NBA has so much power. And look, this is just the reality of it, obviously. I'm not saying anything that you all don't know, but it just frustrates me. Look at Kenny Atkinson. This is a guy who took a team that was garbage, complete garbage, laughingstock of the league. Him and Marks built a foundation, built a winning culture, developed players like D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Jared Allen. All these guys that teams didn't even look at or didn't even care about. Developed those guys, brought this team together. They won 42 games under Kenny Atkinson. They developed this greatness. And this guy can't even see what he built and what it could accomplish because two big shots come in and say, and I'm not feeling Kenny Atkinson. How is that right? And I get it. It's the reality of it. Superstars, you want the star players. You want to make them happy. The worst thing you can have is a disgruntled superstar. If they want to play for a certain coach, you got to get that. I get it. I'm not saying I don't get it. I'm saying it's just wrong. It's just not right. You know, it's Kenny Atkinson did nothing wrong and gets fired. Jacque Vaughn comes in, does nothing wrong but make the Nets overachieve in the bubble, and the whole entire team really, really likes him. And they say, well, because everyone really likes you, but you're not the guy that the big shots want, we'll keep you on as the assistant coach, which I also like, by the way. Because everyone on the Nets, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, Jared Allen, they all said how much they loved Jacque Vaughn and felt that he deserved a chance. Everyone felt Kenny Atkinson deserved a chance. But Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, particularly Durant, didn't feel like he had a chance. And so they said bye-bye. And look, like I said, I get it. And Steve Nash could be a great coach. I think he will be a great coach. To me, it's just unfair. Just like it's unfair that there are definitely more qualified coaches than Steve Nash out there. And I'm not going to go into, the racial, aspect of things. If you just watch Stephen A. Smith and what he believes, and I'm not going to get into that, but just watch what he believes. And, were definitely more qualified coaches out there. Were there coaches that were a better fit? I don't know. I don't think so. That's why the Nets went with Steve Nash, because the fit was that. But there were definitely more. So is it fair that those more qualified coaches didn't get it? No. Is it fair that Kenny Atkinson and Jacque Vaughn, who built that culture, the Nets got cast aside? No. It's the reality. But I just don't like it. And I like Steve Nash. I think he's going to do a good job. I just don't like it. I mean, this is like if you're really good at your job or great at your job, but you don't like your boss, going above your boss's head to his boss and saying, yeah, you know how I crushed last week's sales numbers? I'm not feeling, Tony being like in charge of me anymore. You think you can get rid of him? I kind of like Mark over there. Like, who does that? How is that acceptable in society? Players are paid to play the game. They're already paid more than 10 times the amount of the coaches, which is understandable. They're the talent. People are going out to see the players. They're not going out to watch the coach. They're not paying money to see the coach. They're paying money to see the players. I get it. I told you, I get it. But sports is the only business, ultimately, in which the employees have more power than their superiors, except for obviously the owners and the general managers. But we're talking about lower management, coaching staff. And once again, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's the reality of it. I'm just saying it's unfair. And this is a great example of what we're seeing with Steve Nash getting hired. And whatever, I want the Nets to win. And if Steve Nash is going to have the Nets win, then who cares? And I'm just talking out my but I'm just wanted to point out that I'm not a fan for that reason. But I'm a fan for the sake that if it brings the Nets together, why not? And let's give the guy a shot, because Steve Nash is a great basketball mind and definitely deserves an opportunity, and I'm all for it. I just kind of say to myself, damn, it's so obvious why the Nets hired Steve Nash when you figure it out. And it's all because of Kevin Durant, and that's just the reality. So there you have it. I was really supposed to talk more about what that's my spiel. That's what I feel about the hire. I feel that it's a good hire, It's an understandable hire. I think under the circumstances, it's the right hire. It is the right hire under the circumstances because that's what the Nets needed to get. They need to get a guy who Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will listen to. And so, what's better than asking those guys, will you listen to this guy? So it was the right hire. Do not get me wrong. I am not saying it was not the right hire. I'm just saying it's just a disappointing, unfair situation. That's the reality of it. But that's the NBA. And that's most of sports. All right? That's just the way it works. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. And, NetsBoy, you just have to accept it, which I do. I just like to vent my frustration like a bitter old man because that is what I'm going to be eventually. And I already know it. But anyway, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about the Steve Nash hire. How shocked you were, like I was. If you think that he's going to do a good job, bad job. If you agree with me that it's unfair, but it's understandable with the player power that they have and all this stuff. And and let's get ready. So my next NetsBoy episode will or should be that Should They Stay or Should They Go episode, which I'm in no real rush to do that episode, but hopefully in the next week or so I will do it. And just keep your eyes open for the next NetsBoy episode. And, congrats on Steve Nash. Because with all seriousness, I think, like I said, I like the hire. I think it's the right hire. It just sits with me a little unfair. I'm kind of like, it just fits with me a little frustrating-wise, But anyway, let's just end the episode. Let me know what you guys think. And until then, this is NetsBoy signing off. When